Sorry. Hey, squirrel. Hey, everybody. Josh the RV Nerd with Bish's RV down here with a brand new floor plan. It's kind of just the Grey Wolf version of a very popular couples camping classic right here. But to the extreme, they are rocking this mic like a vandal. They put a massive chunk of glass on the front of this thing, and it is not just a window, it is a true windshield, just like your vehicle. So going to be far more repellent against like rocks flung at it and stuff like that. But this feels to me like a camper that would be really good for like seasonal or park sites, but maybe you don't necessarily want to or need to go all in on the deep end budget. You don't necessarily need the bed slide version of something. That's where this comes in. Now we're looking at it the more conventional standard series today with the tin skin, but the black label package with the shiny fiberglass skin, that is also available here. The front end of this is fairly straightforward as far as front kitchens go, where I do love the fact a lot of your stick and tin campers won't make a different front end for one floor plan like this. I think it's really cool that they really focused on the viewing off the front of this thing, because it does have very limited campsite window coverage, to be fair. And when I first glanced at it, I was like, oh crap, this thing doesn't have a pantry, but it does. It has a pantry-tainment. There's a lot of kitchen storage even behind the entertainment center, which I think is a very effective, crafty use of space. Again, it doesn't have an east-west bed slide. If someone's like, oh, it'd be better if it had a bed slide, there's plenty of other RV manufacturers who make a floor plan like that. Something like this, that's a little more cost-effective, lighter weight, those are things that haven't been able to be found in the RV industry for a while, so it's kind of cool to see. It does have some nice features, like the bathroom has the bigger vent fan, but it is a radius elbow bonker shower. It's a step-up slide, but it's carpetless and ventless. This RV has positives and negatives all over the place. I want to be fair with you, and I want to tell you both sides of that equation, and if you appreciate that, hit that subscribe button, like our video, and let's see what else this one might have in store for you.
And this isn't trying to be the flashiest, fanciest, highest endiest kind of camper out there, but for the money, it includes some really nice features. We're carpetless and ventless. We've got that electric space heat and Tootsie toaster down there. It doesn't include a TV, but they also didn't box it in where a TV would be located. If they had done that, it would probably only fit like a maximum of, I don't know, a 32-inch screen, which I mean, you know, that's first world problems, I suppose, but a larger, I bet a 40-inch would hang up there pretty darn easily, because it's kind of surface mounted. You're going to be able to put a larger screen on this thing. And just to kind of give you a little bit of a look around here, it's a fairly conventional front living layout, but with a couple key tweaks and differences. And there's some things I like about it and some things I don't. I do appreciate the fact that we have easy access to things like the converter fuse box below the refrigerator, so that it's going to be readily travel accessible. But I think the travel access is probably going to be what I call two-stage travel access. We'll verify that in a little bit. This is a Norco exact slide system, which means it is technically a little bit of a step-up slide. But that also means at a travel stop, if you want to sit down and actually use the dinette, you're probably going to be able to do that. And they went with a full true U dinette. Very few front kitchen makers do a U dinette, because a lot of times they're really cramped for space. Now, to accomplish that U dinette, they did have to go with a little bit smaller sofa, but I think it's plenty of space for two people, and it's basically a couple's camper. So I think that works. I actually think, personally, I would have liked this a little bit better if it didn't have that cabinet above the countertop right there. And I'm not somebody who likes to delete storage, but I think that would have really opened up some nice prep space and or appliance space on the front end of this thing, because we've already got like really good cabinet storage. But it is nice actually to have some above the counter cabinet storage readily available in the kitchen. So that's just my 2 cents. I could be wrong. I don't know. Now you might notice that there's a little bit of a level exchange here around the sink. Sometimes manufacturers have to do that because of the limitations of their countertop suppliers. Their supplier can't make one piece of countertop that would fit and wrap all the way around. What I like is they put the sink, the water source, on the lowest part of that, so you don't accidentally spill stuff onto everything else that you're working on. And this is an unsung benefit of having an RV that does have wood frame sidewalls, or stick built, you know. You can put power outlets in the walls exactly where you want. Most front kitchen builders with a layout remotely similar to this are laminated walls, and most of them are 1.5-inch walls, which are not thick enough to be able to have a flush mount wall receptacle up to code. You don't have that problem here.
at all. They've stuck with the 5-piece smart sink. This is like one of the most accessible price point RVs with the fancy sink package. They do not, however, have a propane oven. They have a propane stovetop, the 3-burner stovetop. But what they have down here is an electric oven, air fryer, convection with a microwave on it. So that means that you are, I'm going to say at kneecap level for your microwave. Some people really hate that. Some people don't care. I'm one of the people that don't care. I actually kind of prefer a low mounted microwave. Even though I'm tall, I'm klutzy. And if the microwave were overhead and I cooked a bowl of Campbell's soup, that's an easy thing to reference, I suppose. If I spilled it, that hot soup would be running straight down my arms, and that would suck. So I'd rather the soup just kind of splash on the floor if I happen to drop it, which is about 50-50. 50-50 when it comes to me, guys. Looking around down here, sometimes people wonder about those fireplaces pumping a bunch of heat into the cavities behind them. They don't do that. They pump the heat into the living cavity, and they pull the air in from behind it. So it shouldn't be heating everything that's back there, which I will show you in just a second. Now, one of the tricks with this, because this is a step-up slide-out, which is more obvious when we get over here to look at the dinette, this is not a floor flush slide. There is not an opportunity from the factory here to do things like have a theater seat or a hide-a-bed. So this is a small bifold, aka jackknife sofa. It does not have the opportunity for things like true theater seating over here. And I get that some people may not love that. Heck, guys, I'm not even sure I like that, but I'm not going to not talk about it. There's a lot of money potentially here on the line, and whether it's awesome or not, it's the kind of thing I think you sort of deserve to know before you go potentially dropping a lot of money on one of these things. One of the things I also discovered that I liked is this pantrytainment has essentially 2 ways to keep it closed, and it works really well. But before I get there, this is some really nice, handy storage space. Notice that the shelves don't go all the way to the edge of it, though. You know what I thought would be really good right here is like a vertical kind of broom hanger or something like that. I could see that being really handy, really, really useful. But when you're at your destination, it has magnet holdbacks because that's actually metal right there. So you have magnet holdbacks to keep it shut. When you're traveling, it actually has a latch system so it doesn't fly open when you're going down the road. Now, this refrigerator is one of the newer styles where the fridge door can open from either side. And it's got that cool like chest style freezer drawer down below to make the storage come to you. So if you don't like the refrigerator opening this way, which I think this is probably the way that makes the most sense. But in theory, like if you're sitting at the sofa, you can walk over real quick and grab a drink and close that and like not walk around it. It's not like it's far. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of nice sometimes when things are a little more direct. And that newer style is one where the door won't fall off if you happen to grab both sides at the same time, or if you didn't get the left side latched and you grab the right side, it's not going to fall off and hit you or break the door, fall on the floor. You get the idea. It won't fall. There you go. Okay, moving on. Drawer space in the kitchen. Let's talk about that. They used a lot of the space really effectively, but you technically only have one drawer. Everything else is cabinet space because they dedicated that wastebasket in this one. I actually think what I would probably do is I would take the trash can out of that drawer. I would put the trash can under the sink myself because it'll fit down there just fine. And I would probably repurpose that as just a second kitchen drawer, because otherwise you're very limited, But also don't forget, under both sides of the dinette, you have these full extension drawers. Now, they're not drawers with like runner glides. It's just a full-on pull-it-out drawer, almost like a built-in access slider tote, if you will. And again, they went with a larger, I'm going to call it true U dinette, because there's not all U dinettes in the RV industry are created equally, everybody, but that is one of the larger variety ones there. I think it did cause them to have to go with a slightly smaller sofa, but again, I think 2 people can fit there just fine. And moving on from there, we're going to go to our bathroom. Now, the goal of this floor plan was to give you a maximized nice living and kitchen, a maximized daily function space.
your bedroom and bathroom are not the priorities on this floor plan. That's not what this budget allows for. Other campers with higher dollars can do that. First of all, space around the toilet, perfectly fine. Elbow room, leg room, all that stuff is perfectly fine. You know, the walls in this corner above the toilet, I would really love to see some towel hangers of some variety there. I think that could be really, really useful. And thankfully, all of these, even like today we're in the standard series, we're not in the black label edition, you still get the bigger XL vent fan. Cherokee's also been really good about like extra large mirrors and stuff and sinks in their bathrooms for a while. But before we get there, I'm not at an awesome angle to showcase it, but it doesn't take very long to figure out that this is a radius shower. If you notice, the RV 6.5 foot tall. I'm a little over 6 foot. When I stand in it, yeah, my head's in the skylight, and I got to make sure I know where I'm standing, or else I'll hit my head. And the elbow room in a radius shower can be a problem for some users. It just kind of is what it is. By the way, they put the water heater controller here in the bathroom. What do you think is the best location for that? Like, ideally, in a perfect world, I actually think it'd be cool if there was a water heater controller in both the kitchen and the bathroom. But if you only had to choose one or the other, I don't know. Where would you want it? Now, a private rear bedroom like this is about as rare as hen's teeth. And this is, rear bedrooms are the classic way RVs used to be designed, because it allowed you to sleep with less noise distraction. Like in the mornings, if the kids wake up before everybody, and everyone's been to a campground, anyone who's an experienced RVer, you've been to a campground where the kids who are not monitored properly by their adults, they're up hooping and hollering way too early sometimes. When you're in the back of the RV, you're further away from that kind of traffic at the campsites, and sometimes that's kind of nice. So a rear bedroom is a little more private, quiet place. So why are rear bedrooms so rare? The answer is slide outs. Slide outs add a lot of weight. And like you might notice how this RV has a pretty hefty hitch weight. I'm willing to bet, I don't actually have the weights and measures in front of me, but when you have a super slide on and in front of the axles like this, you end up with a lot of hitch weight. So you need to kind of keep that in mind. Slide outs are the reason we have mostly front bedrooms in the RV marketplace now. People who didn't ask, I'm sure, I'm glad you care. Anyway, household and USB outlets on that side of the bed. It's a little different over here on the other side of the bed, though, so allow me to sweep you past it real slow, sweet chariot. This is a, I believe, 150 watt little mini inverter. And it has a household plug. It has USB plugs. Normally, it works just fine. If you're on battery power alone, it's a small draw inverter, just enough to be able to power something here in the bedroom for like an overnight stay over or something like that. This is not some kind of big, awesome boondock camp or anything like that. Now, this mattress is interesting, and I get that I hate using wide-angle lenses. I don't want to do it. You can't really see the whole mattress in the frame at one time. This is a 66 by 74 short Olympic queen. I don't know what the manufacturer calls it. They're probably going to call it some kind of king bed, but it's not. And I hope you appreciate that I'll point out the difference there. Now, it's not exactly the easiest thing lifting the mattress because there's no stress or anything to get to the storage below, but because it's open on the sides and has those totes, I don't know that it's really necessarily a problem either, because you don't usually need to do that. And I just discovered something awesome in this RV I was not expecting. We are back at the entry door. I have closed the slide. We are now in road mode, ladies and gentlemen. Any other time, no, not any other time, there's one exception, but with one exception, any other time, I have seen a front kitchen when the living room slide is closed, the camper's cut off. Usually, you have to go in through the second door into the bedroom to get to the bedroom or the bathroom. But here's the thing. This slide is not as deep as most of those. It's not a shallow slide by any means, but it's not an extra super duper deep slide. And as a result, because the slide fascia doesn't jump into the RV as far, it lets you open this bathroom door just enough that a lot of users, you're going to be able to do the sideways travel trailer two-step and squeeze through here. Now, I'm big enough where it's a little tricky for me, but I literally just demonstrated in real time the fact that I can get through the sucker, and I need to fix that bedspread runner. I'll get to that in a minute, though.
Walking back the other way, I want you to get to see a real world example of how somebody fits through this. Now, the real choke point here is actually the door knob, which is basically hitting me in my wedding tackle right now, but you can get through this thing. As I've just done. And I'm not the smallest person. I'm also not the largest. So depending on your stature, you may or may not fit. But the fact is, without opening the slide, there's potential here of getting to and using the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen, and because of the slide mech, potentially even the slide. This is some of the best road mode I've ever seen in a front kitchen RV. Now, if we talk towing, what's it going to take to move this thing down the road? I think depending on what dealership and what person you talk to, you're going to get a couple different answers. There's going to be a lot of people out there. I bet the average RV salesperson is going to tell you, oh yeah, you got a half ton, you'll tow this all day long. Because that's most likely how they were trained to talk to you. I used to be like that. I've gained a little bit more experience over the years. It's like farmers. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. A lot. I don't have the full hitch weight measurement in front of me as I'm recording this. I suspect, though, this RV is going to have enough hitch weight that it's going to potentially cause issues against the payload ratings of most half tons out there. I also suspect there could be some half tons that are capable of it. But what I'm kind of giving you here is I want to give you the extra information to arm yourself so you know what questions to ask, because not everybody's a PhD in towology. So now that I've had a chance to put the weights and measures on the screen, those of you who are more initiated in the towing and going conversations, if you could put on your junior deputy badge for the tow police and kind of weigh in the comment section to share with everybody, I think that could be very handy and very cool. You might notice where the water heater is located in that front corner. That's going to give you hot water service to that kitchen almost immediately. It'll take a little bit longer to get back to the bathroom, so kind of keep that in mind. What do you think about this? I mean, man, visually, this looks incredible. Now, obviously, the actual window inside is not as large as the windshield outside. So it's both cosmetic, and functional, but it's a little more on the cosmetic than the functional side. But God, I love the look of this thing. But I could see someone saying, yeah, but what if my truck throws rocks going down the road or whatever? I mean, it is a theoretical thing. It's not common, but it is a thing that could happen. So that's where I kind of feel like a floor plan like this, to me, feels like a model that's going to be best used and will function best at a destination rather than experiencing a lot of road use, especially because this has no special suspension package and common import tires. You know, it's not made with heavy towing factors included on this. Those are the little things, again, inexperienced folks don't tend to think about. The awning space is not bad. It just has no slides on the campsite, which makes it very park friendly, by the way. So it feels like the awning should have been bigger. It's a good sized awning. I'm not really gonna knock it for that. If we get over here, I want to point out a couple little boring details, but important details, like the fact that above that window, you do have a stovetop vent hood to get the hot air and everything out. You don't have a full front pass-through. Technically, this RV has no pass-through storage, but that's not your only outside storage, thankfully. We'll get back to that in a minute. I want to instead, for the moment, draw your attention over here to the left for the little, camp kitchenette amidships, as it were. You'll see in the rear storage compartment, because this one can store a lot of junk in that trunk, there is a griddle top attachment for this grill over here, so you kind of have your choice. You've also got Dad's medicine cabinet for the bottled water and the barley pop right there next to the ice maker. It's so stupid. I'm going to keep calling it that. I love it. And actually a full hot-cold outside utility shower. Now, it's not a real sink. It doesn't really have sink capacities. But you want to keep that ice maker running. You got to do a quick little campsite cleanup. You've got the perfect little opportunities to do that. And, of course, you have a gas grill connect right down below if you don't like the grill or griddle that's included with the camper. Working our way back over here, this is where we're saying it's not that it has no outside storage. It actually has decent outside storage, but it's not a full pass-through. You get to part of it over here and part of it under the bed effectively. You might notice how it's kind of partitioned off. I can't remember what's over there. I think that's a water inlet, if I'm not mistaken. That's where your hookup station's located. Right below that compartment, you've also got the drunken uncle leash latch right there. So if Uncle Gary ties one on, you can tie him onto the camper so he doesn't go wandering through traffic going, the old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be. Which, I mean, let's face it, after about the fourth time that happened, the campground's going to kick you out again. They're going to figure out that eventually these people who use the names of the Flintstone characters to book reservations, they're going to figure it out eventually. But that's maybe more of my journey and not yours. The roof is walkable. Getting back to the RV. It is ladder prepped. It doesn't come with the factory ladder. We can assist you with that stuff at the stores if need be. We try to keep a couple of those on hand at any given point to save you the trouble of looking up the right one or whatever. And there is 200 watts of solar up on the roof now, with the charge controller in that front storage compartment, capable of accepting basically an additional 200 to 250 watts of solar capacity for a total maximum capacity of 400 to 450-ish watts before you need to start rewiring, all kinds of stuff. Now, your cargo rack on the back is factory standard, which is, it's also one of the reasons that the RV reads a little bit longer on paper than maybe it actually is, because RV manufacturers are actually required to measure to basically the furthest point out, like the bumper is one of the furthest fixed points out or something like that. So that's why a lot of RV manufacturers will not have bumpers, because it allows them to read 6 inches shorter in the brochures. In case you were ever curious, that's why. Now, hang on. This might be really good news. I'm seeing back here, that's a black and a gray tank outlet, but I'm tracing a pipe. This is a single sewer outlet camper. No way. It is. I did not expect that. Almost every time you have a front kitchen, you almost always have dual sewer outlets. And here, for less money than basically anybody else, they didn't do that. That is so awesome. Well done, Cherokee. Well done. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. If you like what you see and you're curious or serious about the price tag of it, double check the links in the video description. Now, I also mentioned if you prefer a full bed slide, or if you want washer dryer prep or something like that, take a look at the links in the video description. There are plenty of other builders who make a layout like this thing, some of which have other features that maybe you prefer, but they're probably going to run more money than this one. That's the offset, Short of that, let me know what you like about it, or don't, or whatever the case may be. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.